Hello, my dear viewers from Egypt to all over the world. Today we present you the second story in our channel. I hope you like romance. Come on, dears, like the video and subscribe to the channel. Here we go. Haya is 30 years old. She lives with her mom and young sister. She has been responsible for the house after her father's death. She has dedicated her life to help her mom. She didn't want her to work. She was the one who worked to afford all expenses. Her mom always told her, "Honey, when will you make me happy and get married?" Haya always said, "Don't sweat it, Mom. I don't want to get married. All I want is to be your backbone. That's it. You understand that my young sis has no one except me, and she's attached to me? This is why I don't think about marriage in the meantime. Nada, dear, what would you like me to bring you when I'm home from work? I know that you wait for me every day to bring you some candy. What is that you like me to bring today?" "I like everything you bring me. Don't ever listen to Mom and get married. I want you to be with us forever. I don't want anyone to give you a hard time, as you already know how Dad used to make Mom angry." "Don't worry, dear. I'm not thinking of marriage, and I will never get married. But I really wish for the day you get married, my lovely chicklet." Despite the pressure that Hayat underwent, this was too light for her. She always liked to go to work to earn money by the end of every month and make her mom and sis happy. However, one day on her way to work, something weird happened. Let me introduce you to Rashid. He is a very shy guy who doesn't know how to talk to girls. In other words, he hates them and he can't trust any girl. One day on his way to work, he was shocked to see a girl in front of his car who was using her phone without giving any heed to the road. He was driving so fast and used the brakes at the last moment. Suddenly, the girl fell down in front of the car and lost consciousness. In that moment, Rashid was really unable to do anything. He put her in his car and he didn't know where to go. He was worried about being blamed. However, because of his good conscience, he took her to the nearest hospital. There the doctor told him that nothing bad has happened to her and that she was okay, but she needed to rest from that shock as she got a sedative. He stood in front of her and saw how beautiful she was. He said to himself that all girls are beautiful, but this girl is so beautiful. But no, I won't get affected by her beauty. All of them are liars. All of them are traitors. I can't stand any girl in the world. He kept looking at the watch. It was getting late. 1 hour, 2 hours passed, and she wasn't aware of anything. His friend called him. "Hello, Rashid. Why haven't you come so far?" "Sorry, something strange happened. I will make sure everything is going well, and then I will tell you everything. I had an accident, and it seems I hurt a girl. I'm waiting till she gets to her senses." "Hey, man, are you always nervous even at driving? Focus a little bit. I can't believe that even on the day you've come back from your travels, and I haven't seen you for a while, you have an accident. Come on, I'm waiting for you. Don't be late." Rashid kept waiting for her till she started to get back to her senses. He kept talking to her, but she was not focusing at all. He kept telling her, "Come on, what are your demands? I'm busy now." "I'm so sorry. I don't have any. I know I was wrong. And that I was looking at the phone and didn't take care." "What do you mean? I'm standing before you all the time thinking that you might think that it was my fault. How come you don't have any demands? I thought you wanted to be compensated." "No, for sure no. I'm the one who is sorry. Please, please go and do whatever you want." He went away the moment he was sure that she became conscious, and he kept thinking that she didn't have any demands. He kept thinking about her. How come she was so content? She was really different from any girl he knew. It is impossible that there are really kind girls like that, he thought. She must be acting. The moment he reached the firm, his friend told him, "Hey man, it's been ages." Unfortunately, Haya was working at this firm, and she didn't know that that young man worked there too, and that he was the best friend of the boss. The boss was with him. Both of them are thinking of the good memories they shared because they've been friends since childhood. Tamer, the boss, knew very well Rashid's personality and that he was complex and dry, and that he couldn't afford girls. The moment he saw Haya, he kept shouting at her, "Why are you so late, miss? Is it your company? You will be deducted for 3 days." Tamer kept humiliating Haya. All the time, Rashid was looking at the phone and didn't realize that she was the same girl who was late because of him. Suddenly, Rashid looked at her when she said, "I do apologize, sir. You don't know what happened to me." She was surprised to see Rashid standing, interfering and saying, "Yes, Tamer, leave her alone. I'm the one who is responsible for her lateness." "Are you there? Since when have you known Mr. Tamer?" Tamer stood up and said, "Okay, you can leave now. Consider there is no deduction." Although Haya went away, Rashid kept looking at her till she disappeared. That moment, Tamer realized how Rashid has changed. He started to ask him, "What's up, man? What are you thinking of?" In fact, Rashid was not focusing with him at all. "No, this is too much. Your looks are abnormal. Where is that Rashid who can't afford women?" He told him, "I still can't. Who told you that she got me? It's not a big deal. I just feel guilty towards her. She is really so kind. I thought she was gonna argue with me when she got back to consciousness, but I was shocked by her reaction. She gave in her rights so peacefully. How long has she been working here? How did you know her? This girl is so weird. She is different from any other girl. Am I right or not?" Tamer didn't answer him, but he felt that he was so interested in her, especially when Rashid tried to have every excuse not to be with him in the office and to go around in the firm to see Haya from a distance. Haya was a hard worker and was focusing only on her work. She didn't think of any other thing. But Rashid started to annoy her and told her that he invited her out for lunch. She looked at him with astonishment, especially they didn't know each other that well. He got nervous. He got nearer and said, "Am I not talking to you? I said come for lunch." She was so astonished. She stood to stop him and said, "Please, sir, this is a place of work. I won't allow anyone to exceed the limits with me. Excuse me, I have work to do." She sat and kept working without even looking at him. That moment, he was shocked and he got annoyed by her attitude. Well, he started to put her in his mind more as she increased his complex against women. He went to his friend Tamer and said, "Look, you and I have been friends for too long. You know me. When I put something in mind, no one can stop me. You have to help me, Tamer." He asked for all the information about her. Tamer was surprised. Why she? "You can't bear any woman. Why this girl? Please, leave her alone. She is kind. She even works for being responsible for her young sister." "I know what I'm doing. You should trust me. Please, prepare all the information. Tomorrow I will pass by. You need to prepare it all. Don't worry. I won't hurt her or give her a hard time. But what matters is the information tomorrow. See you. I have an important errand to do." He walked away, and Tamer kept thinking. Rashid went to see her. When he saw her working, he felt how much he wanted to talk to her. He was out of control. He kept looking from a far distance, but she didn't pay any attention. After work, she went to the supermarket as usual to buy the groceries. This was done on a daily basis, as her mom and young sister asked her to buy them things. On that very day, her phone rang. It was a strange number, and she didn't used to answer any strange numbers. She decided not to answer. That moment, Rashid was calling her. He took her number from Tamer, his friend. He kept calling, but it was in vain. Haya reached home and sat beside her sister. She told her, "I brought you everything you asked me to buy. Whenever you want something, I will get it to you. Don't worry, dear." Haya was really kind too and tender with her as usual, as she was the one who was bringing her up after their dad's death, and that's why her sister loved her so much. She sat with her mom and drank some juice with her after they ate lunch. She told her what happened with the so-called Rashid. She told her he was chasing her. Every time he saw her, he decided that he would invite her for lunch, but she declined. When her mom heard her, she felt worried about her and said, "Take care of yourself, dear. In that field, anyone can harass you. You don't need problems." Haya said, "Don't worry, Mom. I'm big enough. I know what I'm doing, and I know very well how to defend myself. Don't worry at all." She went to her room, and she was not giving the matter a big deal. But the mother was deeply worried when she heard that from her, and she was really not reassured. Dears, here we come to the end of the first part of our story, You're All Mine. If you really liked it, press like, subscribe to the channel, and activate the bell so that you can hear from us and from our stories. Till I see you in the next part, I wish you all the best and thank you for watching. Goodbye.
Hello, my dear viewers. Now it's time to know what Hayat did in part 2 of the story, You're All Mine and Mine Only. Let's see what happened.
Hayat went to bed to sleep, and she didn't think about anything. She didn't even worry about anything as she was self-confident. She was sure that no one could force her to do anything. She has experienced much in this life. However, she didn't know anything about Rashid. When he put something in mind, he had to do it. He was a stubborn man. If anything stopped him, then he would want to own it. Tamer has prepared all the information about her name, her life, and who she was living with. But he warned him more than once not to harm her. He said, "Do you think I'm a criminal? Do you think I'm a bully? Don't worry, I just want to marry her." He left him and went away. Tamer felt worried, but didn't know what exactly he was worried about. But it was the first time he saw his friend Rashid that way. In fact, Rashid was really weird at that time. He was unusually putting Hayat in his mind. He went to her with full determination to get introduced to her and talk to her. Like every day, Hayat was working, and she was not paying any attention to anything going around except work. He interrupted her to talk to her and said with much violence, "Don't you see I was standing looking at you for hours? Or were you pretending that you were working so that your eyes wouldn't meet mine? I didn't pay attention to your presence. I'm just here for working only. I'm not here to take care of who is looking at me and who isn't. Please stop talking to me. I just need to only work. That's it. I'm not this kind of girl. Please go search for another girl and don't give me a hard time. If you didn't come with me for lunch, I would bring shame to you, and you wouldn't be able to come to work again." Well, Hayat agreed to take lunch with him in order to know what he wanted from her. She was shocked to find him telling her, "Our wedding party is Thursday 2 weeks from now. Get yourself prepared. Tell me if you'd like to change the furniture or not." Hayat was astonished when he kept asking her about what she wanted in the new apartment, and when he determined the day of the wedding. "What's the matter with you? Are you crazy? How come you speak with someone about marriage that way? They haven't even approved. You are a psycho. You should get treatment. I won't get married, not to you or to anyone. You'd better stop thinking about me. I don't know why you're so determined. Leave me alone. I don't want neither you nor anyone." She made fun at him in front of all the people at the restaurant and went away. That moment, he got himself more determined to marry her with or without her approval. The more stubborn she got, the more determined he got. He thought of making a plan to scare her and to easily get her approval of marriage. The following day, she went to the firm without giving heed to that wacko. Rashid kept looking at her. Then he got near her. "Hey girl, you only have a week to tell me your response. By the way, it can be but yes or something bad will happen." Then he went away. She couldn't believe him. How come he's got all that self-confidence? If I refused, what would he do to me? No, he can't do anything. I know how to stop him. I can accept this marriage proposal. He went home with much confidence that she should agree after all that terror. He kept looking around till she would come home and in his bedroom. He was so sure that he would achieve his target. That day she went home. She sat with her mom as usual after lunch. They kept chit-chatting. However, Hayat was thinking about something. She was scared and worried because of Rashid. She didn't say a word about that. She didn't want her mom to get upset or worried. However, she started to overthink and be scared, especially because of his determination to marry her according to or against her will. Her mind was preoccupied and didn't know who she would talk to about that. She didn't want to speak to her mom as she was worried about her. She didn't know what decision she would take. She can't marry that person who permitted himself to interfere with the life of someone that way without even asking her, and who wanted to marry her against her will. Really, Hayat was so confused and didn't know what to do. But she decided to be strong and defend herself. She would decline his proposal. Then, she would see how he would react. Once it was morning, and without sleeping all night, she went to work to face her destiny. The moment Rashid saw her, "Hey, bride, have you agreed? You should know that if you didn't agree, you wouldn't live again as I would interfere in your life. You won't be able to get rid of me. Do you think there is not law? I hate you. I don't want to marry you. I'm free. It's not right to force me to take such an important decision at all. Now listen, I don't agree. Okay, tomorrow you will regret it. You will come to me and you will beg me to marry you." He left her, but she had 1,000 questions in mind. How can he? What does he know about me to boldly threaten me that way? Can he really hurt me? Did I make a mistake when I declined his proposal? I don't understand. I wish I had approved. Now I live in much worry, and I don't know my destiny or what is awaiting me. She kept thinking all night. She didn't know how to relax. She could not take any decision. But she told herself, "Wake up, Hayat. You are much stronger than any circumstances." Rashid was putting her under much stress. He wanted to make her afraid of him to accept his marriage proposal. After that, he could fix his image before her and change his attitude. The following day she went to work. Days passed and she didn't find him. A whole week passed and he disappeared without interfering in her life. She started to get reassured. She thought she pushed him back. But in fact, Rashid was planning for something, and he started to follow his plan. You know what? It's a horrible plan. Wait for me tomorrow in the third part of the story to see what Rashid is planning and what he's got in mind. Till I meet you, I wish you all the best and thank you for watching. Goodbye. Hello, dear viewers from Egypt to all over the world. Today, we are going to complete our story, You're All Mine, and we will have the third part. I hope that you will like it. Rashid started to follow his plan. He kidnapped Nada, Hayat's little sister. He went home and faced her mom with the ugly truth that he loved Hayat and wanted to marry her, and that she had to agree if she wanted to see her little sis Nada again. The mother was shocked from his oppression. "Why, son? Be fair. We have no one to be with us. We're all alone." She kept begging, but he gave her no heed and told her that she had to make her daughter come to her senses and marry him. The mother was confused and didn't know what to do. Is it possible to sacrifice her little daughter or her elder one? She had no idea what decision to take. The problem is that there was no one to help them. She kept crying too much. I'm the one who did this to my daughter. I let her go to work. She kept talking to herself. After work, Hayat went to the supermarket as usual to bring the groceries, and especially what Nada wanted. Nada would wait for her impatiently. How beautiful that meeting was, and it really made her forget all the exhaustion she had. When she came home, she found it empty, and there was no sound, and even Nada, her little sis, was not waiting for her. She kept calling, "Where is the pretty girl whom I brought her all she wanted? Come on! If you're hiding, come at once! I returned from work so exhausted. Where is the kiss and hug?" She kept calling her, but she didn't answer back. Her mom was sitting at Nada's room crying. Her crying was heard. That moment Hayat left what was in her hands. She went and asked her, "What's the matter? Where is Nada? Why are you crying? Mama, please answer. What happened? You're worrying me. I can't take it. Answer me." The mother at that moment was crying too much. She couldn't answer her or pay attention, because she thought she was behind it all, and she didn't tell her anything till what happened, and it became so difficult. Hayat kept asking, "Mom, please, where is Nada? Did you send her to buy anything? What happened?" "Oh, you are the reason behind all of this, Hayat. Why didn't you tell me from the beginning about that person who wants to marry you against your will? He kidnapped your sister to agree to marry him. What shall we do? Sacrificing the elder or the younger?" Hayat kept shouting and crying. She understood that moment that his threat was serious. She didn't know what to do. Will she defend herself or her sis and protect her? He succeeded then in putting her under pressure, and she started to accept the idea of marrying him. After too much thinking, she went to her mother and said, "Mom, it's over. I agree to marry him. I think he's not an evil guy. All his target is to marry me. I will do what he wants. Mom, I will marry him. Be reassured my sis will come back to you today. Once he calls me, I will tell him that I approve. He doesn't need my sis. He wants me." The mother didn't know if that was a good or a bad decision. She didn't have any choice, because she feared for her little daughter. She was convinced with what Hayat said, and that he was not that bad. That moment, her phone rang. She decided to answer hastily and say, "Okay, I agree with all you say. Leave my sis alone. She's got nothing to do with all of that." This is what he wanted to hear. He wished he had heard that long time ago, because he was determined to marry her. He was so sure that she would love him afterwards. Sometime later, he took her and left Nada. The mom tried to know what was happening. She asked what he did with Nada. Did he torture her or hit her? He seemed a psycho. She was surprised when Nada told her, "On the contrary, Mom, he was so good to me. He brought me all the things I asked for. He also took me to the Luna Park." Hayat didn't know any of that. Who was looking at him with much disgust. He was a very bad guy, a kidnapper who abducted her little sister. He was the one who made her feel scared and humiliated, to reach the elder's heart. She thought he was a young man with no conscience, a devil. He looked at his watch and said, "Be ready. The marriage will be in half an hour. I arranged everything with the Reverend. He is waiting for us now. We'll get married and go home." She kept shouting and crying. After getting married, he took her to his house. He told her to be reassured. He was not a bad guy, and that the marriage couldn't be without a ceremony. The following day would be the wedding party. He would buy her a very beautiful dress. They would invite all their acquaintance. All would witness their marriage, as God ordered us to. She looked with contempt and said, Yes, yes. It's obvious. It's so clear you fear God. Really, you are a devil and have no conscience. It is impossible for me to give up my heart for you. Time is between us. Time will judge us. You will test me. If you want to continue with me, I agree. If you don't, then you are free. Hayat kept herself in her room. She didn't know what to do. She couldn't afford staying with him for one day. What about staying for 2 months, like he asked? She couldn't stand him at the beginning. How could she stand him later? No matter what he did. In her room. She didn't know what to do. She couldn't afford staying with him for one day. What about staying for 2 months, like he asked? She couldn't stand him at the beginning. How could she stand him later? No matter what he did. She was so nervous that she's forced on that situation. She didn't want him. Only God knew what could happen later. That moment, Rashid went to his mom to tell her about his complex of marriage being solved. The mother was sitting in the garden without knowing anything. Who was that girl whom he brought to his room? Has he become that bold? She didn't know she was his wife. Mom, I don't want you to be worried. My complex has been resolved. I've got married. The one sitting upstairs is my wife. We just got married without a party because we were in a hurry. You can invite all our acquaintances because the ceremony is tomorrow. What wedding party? How could you get married and propose without telling me? Sure, I'm so happy for you that your complex has been resolved, but I'm upset at the same time because you didn't take my opinion in anything. Look, what matters is that my complex has been solved. Don't blabber like most moms do. You'd better thank God that my problem is sorted out. Come on, arrange for that marriage. The following day, the mother arranged for everything. She was so happy for her son. But there were too many blurry things she didn't understand. One of them was that Hayat was always staying in the bedroom and never stopped crying. She was too upset that her crying was heard. Rashid came into the room and said, I don't understand the reason behind all that crying. The people are starting to show up, and I told you yesterday that your wedding ceremony is today, and you will find your wedding dress. Get prepared and get down. Get down to do what? And what wedding dress do you want me to wear? Neither my mom nor my sister are here with me. Isn't it enough that you abducted me and want to marry me by force? You don't want me to see my family? You don't allow them to come? I really don't understand how you've become that way. Stop that headache. Come on, get prepared. The people are downstairs. I will go and come back. When I come, I want to find you prepared. I think I'm understood. Where are you going and leaving me here? My mom and my sis have to be here with me. Understand? She kept talking too much, but he left her and went away. But she didn't know what errand he had to do. In fact, Rashid was not evil. This is what he has been trying to make Hayat's mom understand. He asked her for forgiveness. I'm crazy in love with your daughter. I've loved her since the first moment I saw her. Today, you will be dressed up and be prepared to see her in her wedding dress. He came closer to little Nada. Honey, what about coming home with me to see your sis in her wedding dress? Nada was really happy. I've been waiting for that day for so long. I always wished to see her in her wedding dress. She always told me she hated marriage. No, sweetheart. From now on, your sis will love marriage, I promise you. Mom was standing and hearing what he was saying. If he was that good, why would he behave that way and force her to marry him? Mom could not forgive him till she talked with him. I want you to be reassured. Don't worry. I will take care of your daughter. You have to believe me. Really, I can't understand you. I can't even understand your attitude and the way you treat us. But my heart is telling me that I'm reassured about my daughter. I hope you won't hurt her. And don't make her hate her life. She has already seen a lot in her life. I hope you become the beautiful thing in her life. Don't worry. I can't leave her. I adore her, really. I will take care of her. At that time, Hayat was preparing herself and wearing her wedding dress, which Rashid had bought. However, she wasn't happy like any other girl was. All that mattered was how she was wearing that dress and would go to the wedding ceremony without either her mom nor her sister. She was so upset and her eyes were filled with tears. That time, her mother came and got introduced to Rashid's mom. "I am so happy that your daughter was able to change my son and got him out of his bad mood. I don't know how to thank you. My son is kind and tender, but he is sometimes reckless and can't control what he says. You must have understood that." One of Rashid's friends was there. "Hey man, can't believe you did all that. I didn't imagine you could marry her that fast. In fact, I was so worried at first." "Why? You're supposed to be the nearest one to me and the most one to know me." Hayat the bride came down in her wedding dress. She was surprised to find her mom and sis. They seemed happy. Her mom came to her. "Mom, I can't believe that you've come. I can't believe that you're here. How did you come? And how did you know the address? I thought I was going to stay the whole day alone." "Don't worry, dear. You're well taken care of. Although this young man is reckless a bit, he brought us and he loves you." Hayat got near her little sister Nada. "Tell me, dear, what did Rashid do when he took you? Did he hit or torture you? Tell me." And Nada was laughing. "What are you saying, Hayat? He was so good to me. He brought me a lot of candy. He took me to the Luna Park and was so kind. Why is this attitude toward him?" When Hayat heard this, she changed a bit of her expectations. And dear viewers, here we come to the end of our part. If you really liked it, press like, subscribe to the channel, and activate the bell so that you can hear from us and from our stories. Till I meet you, thank you for watching, and I wish you the best of everything. Goodbye. Hello, dear viewers from Egypt all over the world. Now it's time to meet part 4 of the story You're All Mine. I hope you like it. When Hayat heard this, she changed a bit of her expectations, and she started to know that he was surely not a bad guy, and that all he's been doing could be because he's a good guy, although he pretended to be otherwise. He looked at her from a far distance, while she was in her wedding dress. He admired her and was so happy. He couldn't believe that finally he could see her now in her wedding dress, and that finally her name became his. She was really surprised by his looks, and she was somehow worried. After the wedding ceremony ended, he went with her into the bedroom. "I tell you something. You made a deal with me that we would deal with each other, not as a couple for 2 whole months. Who told you?" "I'd say otherwise. I still keep my promise. If Rashid makes a promise, he never breaks it. And now, to prove that I have a good intention, I will not sleep with you in this room. Do you know who will?" "Surprise. It's your mom and sis, in order to make you a little safe." She stood shocked in her dress. Is he kidding with me or what? Or is he pretending so that I'm attracted to him and love him? No, I will never love him. It is impossible that I approve of that. Just I have to wait for 2 months, and then it is over. Nada and Mom came in. Both of them were so happy about the groom Rashid, whom they hated at first. Hayat was standing in shock because of all of that. She was wearing her wedding dress in the room, and those who were staying with her were her mom and sis. Her mom put her hands on her shoulders. "See? He wants you to feel safe, and he has no intention to scare you. He explained everything to me. He made me understand that he had to do that because you didn't give him any chance to talk to you, and he was determined. Rashid is a good man. He loves you. He did all of that as he wants you. I hope you give him a chance." "No, he's crazy. He acts like one. I can't accept this, and that he forces me to marry him." Mom tried to soothe her many times and told her that it would be possible that he would change after marriage and stop being reckless. Hayat stayed up all night. She left her mom and sis asleep in the bedroom. She went down to the garden. She kept thinking, married and unmarried. 2 months would be lost, and she didn't know if she would love him or not. Rashid saw her from his bedroom's window. He went down to calmly speak with her. He told her he didn't mean to put her in that situation at all, and that he didn't want her to be that sad. putting her hand on her cheek like that on that special occasion. Would you leave me alone, please? It's enough what you did to me, he said and said. Look, if we're gonna start a new life, we should have a good relationship, and you should stop being stubborn. Give yourself a chance to look at me. Try to see the good things in me. Stop looking at the bad things. To give me a chance to prove to you how much I love you. She interrupted him and said, I don't love you. All I want to tell you is that I'll afford those 2 months. They will end up, I'm sure. After that, every one of us will go apart as you promised. Rashid, don't ever think that I will surrender my heart to you after all you've done, or even think about you. He smiled at her. He tried to come near her to soothe her and give her a kiss on her cheek, but she slapped him on the face. It was so hard that she was highly provoked. Don't ever try this again. I'm warning you. If you do this again, I will escape from you. You will never be able to reach me again. Rashid was so angry. He left her and went away. She kept standing and her hand was trembling. She didn't know if what she did was right or wrong, but this was a normal reaction of what happened. She sat down. She couldn't feel her legs. She couldn't enter the room and show her mom her confusion. Rashid sat in the hall. He couldn't sleep. He kept thinking of her reaction. At the same time, he liked it, as this showed how she had good morals that were different from other girls who deceived him. Mom saw her son sitting in the hall despite that it was supposed to be the wedding's night. She asked him, Son, I don't understand anything. Aren't you supposed to be sitting with your bride in the room? Why did you let her mom and sis stay with her in the same room? What happened between both of you? Mom, I don't want to answer any question. Please go to bed. The mother couldn't leave the situation like that. She went to Hayat while she was in the garden in order to know what happened without going too much in the details. When she found her with that reaction, she told her, Look, dear, I don't want to interfere in your life. Don't consider me as a mother-in-law, but I want to tell you something. My son is really kind and tender. His problem is his tongue. He can't control it. I hope you can make things right a little bit between you and him. Try. I can't believe that you have problems on the first night of your wedding. In fact, Hayat couldn't afford it at all, because she felt she was wrong when she slapped him really hard. She went to him and said, Look, I apologize for slapping you, but you never have any right to do what you did. Please don't do it again. She sat beside him. Rashid, come to your senses. Forget the 2-month agreement. I am telling you now, I can't accept it and I don't want to marry. Please let me go. I don't have to wait for 2 months. He looked angrily at her and didn't want to respond. Then he said, I think it is too late now. It's time to go to bed. Pardon me. I gotta go as I'm not used to staying up that long. She left and went away. She knew it was hopeless. She started to surrender. Rashid was happy, although he thought she was stubborn. But he found her a good girl who would love him someday. This is why he did all he could to prove to her that he was a good husband and that he loved his home and his wife, and that he wanted to live happily with her. He went to buy her all the groceries. He came and said to her, I've bought many things. Why don't you fix us a good dish? I also brought you new clothes. Come on, let's get down. She was astonished. She found that he was trying to live a life of a couple. He bought many things to her mom and sis when he was giving them a drive to home. He told Nada, if you needed anything else, you could ask me. Now I'm your brother-in-law. I am like Hayat. Nada was so happy that he is tender with her. He bought her many toys to make it up for her when Hayat was not at home. Mom started to feel happy because he was so good. Above of that, he passed by once a week to take them out. Days passed, and Hayat started to feel how much he cared for her family. He wanted to make each one of them happy. She started to feel she was at ease, because a burden has been lifted up off her shoulder. She used to think too much about her mom and sis, and she was thinking how they would pay for things after she left them. But she found Rashid was doing more than he could. She started to accept that idea a little. At the same time, she couldn't accept that it would be that easy, and that after all what he did, she would be his wife. She would punish him for what he did. She thought, I must know why he married me that way. She went fast and told him. Dears, here we come to the end of the fourth part of the story, You're All Mine. If you really like it, press like, subscribe to the channel, and activate the bell so that you can hear from us and from our stories. Till I meet you again, thank you for watching, and I wish you the best of everything. Goodbye!
Hello, dear viewers from Egypt all over the world. Now it's time to take part 5 of the story, You're All Mine. Let's see what happens. I want to talk to you. It's urgent. I want to know why you married me that way. If you are a good guy, and I haven't seen any bad from you all the time. You want to know everything about me? I agree. I've been waiting for that question a long time ago, to explain to you. Okay, here we are. Go ahead. Tell me why you did this to me, and marry me by force. Okay. Let's go to the garden and drink some tea together. You're about to know everything. After fixing some tea, they both sat in the garden. You can say I'm the kind of guy who's been deceived by women. Don't be surprised. I loved twice in my life. The first one deceived me with another guy. The second one was using me for money. He kept all night explaining to her why he's got a complex and why he hates women, and that he loved her from the first sight. When she opened her eyes at the hospital and didn't want from him any kind of compensation, that time he felt she was different. When he kept watching her all the time while working at the company, and when he tried to interfere with her more than once and she was pushing him back, he started to love her more and was more determined, because he saw she was much different, and he's been waiting to find that in a girl one day. After Hayat knew it all, she started to feel comfortable and accept his way of marrying her, and how dry he's been, and that he wasn't tender at the beginning. So she decided to wear her full makeup and get down to talk to him. She wished he could understand her, because from that moment she started to get attached to him. She looked in the mirror and thought to herself, well, come on, Hayat, go down. You can do it. She went down and she found him waiting for her in the hall. Wow, you are beautiful. I'm here to tell you something. I hope you will understand. I think that tomorrow the 2 months will have ended. We should go apart. But I have a suggestion. I agreed these 2 months will be a start. The start of an introduction, and complete this with you. But on one condition. What? I understand nothing. I can stay forever. But first you should approve of that condition. When I marry you, I will do whatever I want. I will work and go on with my normal life. You have to decide. Agree? Okay, let us do it. If you don't agree, forget anything I've just said. Hayat was so sure about his love to her. Although she left the choice to him to either get divorced or stay married, but let her work and spend her life that she had before marriage. He couldn't make the right decision. But at the same time, Hayat was satisfied. She was sure that Rashid was madly in love with her, and that he couldn't say no, because if he did, he had to keep his promise and divorce her at once. She slept that day as she was so tired, but Rashid couldn't sleep. He kept thinking how he could make the right decision. Would he agree on that condition, or keep his promise and divorce her, because the 2 months are up? If he didn't agree, she had the right to ask for a divorce. He was unable to think, but after a long time, he went into her room while sleeping. She didn't feel a thing. He kept looking at her and thought to himself, oh, I can't believe it. When she's finally here and has my name, I give her up that easily because of a simple condition? He came near her, whispering. He was madly in love with her. He had no objection that she should work. The most important thing was not to lose her. He told her that and left. He didn't know she was hearing every word he said. She felt it all. She happily got up. Where are you going, Rashid? I can't believe that after that sweet talk you would go and sleep in the hall, or even sleep in another room. Come here. Sleep beside me. In fact, your talk has motivated me to complete my life with you. From that day on, everything changed because Rashid and Hayat were together. They started to get closer and understand each other. She started to feel safe with him. He too started to feel that she gave him a chance to express how much he loved her. He sat beside her and said, "I'm so happy you agreed to give me a second chance, to show you how much I'm attached to you, and that you'll stay with me." Days passed. He was the one who drove her to work. He didn't even leave her. He was always with her. He never let anyone come near her or even look at her. He protected her. And she started to feel that she was protected and supported, and that guy whom she was once afraid of, he became her source of security. Days passed, and she really started to fear that she would have regretted if she had lost him. Before she refused him, she should have given him a chance to listen to him. She couldn't have refused him without knowing him. He's become a very tender and kind guy. He was so romantic and was keen on every detail she was interested in. The relationship between them was transformed. After she couldn't trust him or forget how he married her, she forgot it all. She only remembered the good things. She became used to him. He too became used to her. He couldn't dispense with her. She was everything to him, and he was everything to her. Although they were so good to each other, Rashid still felt afraid, still felt that something bad would happen. The more he loved her, the more he became worried. He hugged her and said, "I'm afraid of tomorrow, that you would get apart from me. I need you beside me. Don't you ever walk away or deceive me like all the rest did." That time, she promised him, and that she was different from anyone he knew before. She wouldn't hurt him. She really meant it. She loved him too. And because she knew all that happened before, she was afraid she might hurt him, even without any intention. Days passed. A whole year. Both never got apart. They went to all errands with each other. She couldn't enjoy anything without him. But unfortunately, nothing lasts. Dears, here we come to the end of part 5. What could possibly happen? That we will discover in part 6. Till I meet you, I wish you the best of everything. Please press like, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to activate the bell so that you can hear from us and from our stories. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.
Hello, dear viewers from Egypt all over the world. Now it's time to meet part 6 of the story, You're All Mine. I hope you like it. One day, she was waking him up to go and drive her to work as usual. He made it clear to her many times that she shouldn't go out without him. But she was very late. She tried to wake him up many times, but it was in vain. He stayed up and slept late. He didn't want to wake up. She didn't want to stay. She thought there was no problem if she went to work alone. She got dressed and was ready. She decided to go to work, but while walking on her way, she found her cousin unexpectedly. She hasn't seen him for ages. Once he saw her from a distance, he was surprised by the way she looked. Wow, she got bigger and changed much. He looked at her with a big smile as he was so happy to see her. She was surprised too when she saw him, as she hasn't seen him for too long. "Hey, I haven't seen you for ages. How are you doing? What's up? Have you got married or not yet?" They kept talking for a quarter of an hour. She was so engaged in the conversation. She didn't know that she was provoking her husband by what she was doing, because she knew how jealous he was. But she thought to herself, how would he know? How would he see me? Time flew. She kept talking with her cousin. Rashid woke up. He looked out from the window. He found his car still in place. This means she used transportation. He was so upset and was thinking of how he would go and reach her to drive her. He went down fast, but after 2 minutes of getting out of the house, he found her standing at the end of the street with someone who looked weird. It was the first time he would see him.
Even if he saw him before, how could she let herself stand with him in the middle of the street and laugh out with him? He looked angry. He got into his car and out of it, and with no introductions, he slapped her in front of everybody. She was shocked and asked him, "Why? What did I do wrong?" He told her without blaming her, "I'm sorry. I'm mistaken that I trusted someone like you. You're divorced." He told her that and left away. She kept standing without believing anything. How could he beat me in the middle of the street and divorce me that easy? She was shocked for some time. Her tears ran on her cheek. She kept standing and didn't know whether to run after him or wait. Her dignity was hurt, but she decided to tell him the truth and what happened. She remembered all that he was afraid of, all the bad memories that he used to tell her. She ran after him so fast. She kept calling him. "Rashid, Rashid, listen to me. I swear you did me wrong. Please understand the truth. I told you I would never hurt you or betray you. Stop and listen to me. Give me a chance. I won't be able to kidnap you like you did, Rashid. Stop and listen." Rashid stopped and told her, "From now on, never utter my name again. Forget you knew me or I knew you. I was mistaken from the beginning when I restored my confidence in girls and got married. You are the last one and my destiny and luck. It is over. I won't have another chance. Please go away from me. Forget me as I forgot you." She stopped and didn't know what to do. Was it to that extent he mistrusted all girls, even me? She went to her mom's, and she was devastated. She kept crying after she told her what happened. Her mom told her, "Take it easy, Hayat. Don't be upset with him. But you know how much your husband is jealous for you. You also knew he has a complex. How could you stand with even your cousin? I never expected anything. After all the love that we had, that now he loses trust in me? I can't believe it. I can't believe it would be that easy. Then how could he love me? The one who loves should trust the person one loves, and not leave him at the first situation, or walk away, as if they were not in his life." She kept thinking too much of him. He too kept thinking of Hayat. His heart was broken. He kept crying as a little girl. He couldn't control his nerves as he lost her. Once his mother asked him about her, he said, "It is over. Don't you ever say her name again. Don't you tell me to marry once more. I will never get married my whole life. I forgot the whole gender of women. All of them are evil and traitors. They are all the same." His mom was standing without believing the big problem that happened to divorce her and give her up that easy. He fought so much to marry her and prove to her that he loved her. She felt there was something wrong. At that time, Hayat decided not to stay at home and go to work. But she saw Rashid everywhere. She always imagined him, and she remembered how much he was interested in her, how much he chased her to prove to her that he loved her. No matter how dry she was, he was patient and was resisting till he married her. She went to Tamer the boss and asked him to help her and interfere and reconcile between them. She tried to make him understand that she loved him. Tamer told her it was okay, that "I will try to talk to him. I just know he's stubborn. I hope things will be better." Hayat refused to give up. She went to his mom. She started to talk and make her understand the truth. She told her, "The one I was standing with was my cousin. I swear, I never betrayed him. I never thought of deceiving him. I love him. Why would I? Why is he getting it all out at me?" Unfortunately, Rashid's complex of women came all on Hayat. She was the only one who paid for it, because she loved him and started to get attached to him. She couldn't understand why he made her enter his life when he intended to walk away. Mom found she was devastated. This was not old Hayat who used to kid and laugh. She tried to tell her, "Your condition shouldn't be given no heed to. I have to interfere. I should go to his mom and talk to her, or even talk to him in person. He doesn't know how much you love him. The situation should be cleared, because it's all a misunderstanding. It doesn't need all of that. Mom, really everything is hopeless. Don't go to him. It's over. He left me and forgot all about me. Now it's time I wake up and forget him. I tried to do much for him, but he isn't here in my life. I don't know where he is. I can't reach him. I can't defend myself. This is what makes me so upset. Rashid disappeared suddenly. That moment Hayat was going crazy. She didn't know how to reach him. She couldn't clear herself. He left and walked away, after getting her attached to him. Hayat fainted